everyone. Welcome back to With Infinite Love. My name is Kalila, and today we're doing a pick a card, pick a deck reading about what's next, what new cycle is coming in for you in love today. And so we have three groups. Group 1 has the Sacred Witch Tarot, Group 2 has the Literary Tarot, and Group 3 has the Gilded Tarot Royale. And so you can choose whichever deck is calling to you most right now, and push pause if you need more time. The timestamps will be in the description box below, and I will see you in your reading. Hi, Group 1. Welcome to your reading. If you chose the Sacred Witch Tarot, then this is your group. And we're trying something different today. I'm not usually face on, but I thought I would give it a shot and see how we like it. If you find that I am not actually looking at you, it's because I am using my phone. I'm using the forward-facing camera so that I can see what you can see, but to look at you, I have to look at a place that doesn't feel natural for me. So thank you for bearing with me today, but we are going to do a reading about what your new cycle in love looks like. And when I was prepping the decks for this reading, the card that came out for this one was the Page of Cups. And so I wanted to, was kind of giving me an idea of the vibe. And you know, the Page is a younger energy, sort of at the beginning of their emotional expansion, shall we say. And so that might be an indicator for you. The other thing, the first card that came out here that might help you know if you're in the right place was the Nine of Pentacles. And she did come out sideways. I kept trying to figure out if she was upright or not, and she came out sideways. So that kind of indicates to me that you're working toward financial independence on some level. And so there's one of two ways that can go. You've either been working on your financial independence and you're not quite there yet, or you have mastered your financial independence and you're kind of in an energy where you're wanting to move out of that and towards a relationship, since that's what we're talking about is your new romantic cycle. So that said, let's get into the cards that came out for you. So I do think there is some heartbreak here in your past. And not just heartbreak with the Three of Swords, but we also had the Tower. And so I think there's been some upheaval in your life. That might be why you're working on your finances. It might have taken a toll on your finances. And so, but yeah, this is a sudden, unexpected change. And so whatever happened for you here, I do think these two are kind of together as far as the energies of your reading go. Sorry, I got distracted. There's a giant beetle trying to come in my house. Okay, we're good. So that is where I think you are right now. The Judgment card, though, tells me that you're making a comeback here. You are this phoenix. You will be returning, rising again from the ashes. And I think you're gonna have to. You're in an energy where you're ready to do the work. You're ready to do the work, and you know what you're calling in this new cycle. I think, this is you working on yourself for one, but it's also you knowing how much work a relationship really takes on the day-to-day level, when we're really talking about, So let me back up. I'm not saying that this relationship that's coming in for you is going to be a lot of hard work. This is really just about, the day-to-day kind of concessions that we make in favor of supporting the relationship over ourselves. You know, when we're single and we don't have to think about anybody else, we live one way, and as soon as we get into a relationship, we have to make adjustments, and that's really all I'm really talking about here. So, Two of Wands, though, you're manifesting this. You're manifesting this, and I think you're wanting to come into this new era in your life with a lot of balance. You know, and I do see that coming in for you, this energy of balancing your passion and your emotion with the life that you're trying to create for yourself. And then we have the Queen of Cups, and I do read this as you, regardless of your gender. This isn't about gender. This is about you. I'm so sorry, my fan is squeaky. I'm gonna have to let me see if I can adjust that. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna try this again. I adjusted my fan. Hopefully that will help. I really would prefer not to turn it off because it's very hot today. I do not have air conditioning, so the fan is life. But where I left off was with the Queen of Cups, I think. And I do see this as you. I see you going from page to queen. And as I was saying, you know, this is not about gender. This is about being able to receive the love that's coming towards you, right? This is so we we've gotten into a habit of saying feminine and masculine energy, and then everybody gives the caveat that we all have both. But what we're talking about with feminine energy is the receptive principle, and the masculine energy as the kind of proactive principle. And if you take out all of the nonsense with gender and don't worry about that, this is the receptive energy in the suit of emotions. Okay. It is a level of mastery, of mastering being able to receive. And that sounds on the surface like, of course, we know how to receive, but we don't. Okay. Most of us have a really hard time fully letting love and someone else's adoration really land in our bodies. And I think this is the journey that you're on with this new relationship, because whatever this destruction was back here, with whatever this is that you are recovering from here with this phoenix, I think it really took a toll on you. And so you've had to kind of come back into balance with yourself and do some inner work. Like, this isn't usually a card of inner work, but I do think that's there because you are manifesting, and you're so content, I think, here, or you're working towards being content with your independence, that I do think you're stepping into this person who knows their worth, who feels their divinity as, of course, being a receptive energy, being receptive to love, knowing that you're worthy of the love that you desire. Let's pull a few more cards for what's coming in for you in this new cycle. What's coming in for group ones, please, in this new cycle? Six of Cups. So this is a very sweet energy, and I do think, going back to that receptivity, there's like kind of a nostalgia here. It's a return to innocence in a lot of ways, where, you know, and it can be too much, but this is a card of balance because it's in the upright. Sixes are balance, and this could absolutely, you know, we have it there because of the Six of Cups. This could absolutely be someone from your distant past, like childhood, or depending on your age, this could be someone that you have known before, because there is a sense of nostalgia with this. But if it's not that, this is someone who feels like home. It feels like, but not like home in the toxic way, because sometimes what feels like home is a repeat of whatever trauma we had in childhood. That's not this, right? This is what home should have felt like. Okay. So that's more the energy here. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's someone you grew up with, but there's some people sometimes, if you haven't experienced this, I have, where you meet someone and you're like immediately comfortable with them. And so I do think that's what's coming in for you. We have the Queen of Pentacles. And so yeah, the Knight of Pentacles to the Queen of Pentacles makes a lot of sense. You're I don't necessarily say this is what's coming in for you, but I think it's who you will become from the Queen of Cups to the Queen of Pentacles. And I mean, it could absolutely be a Queen of Pentacles. Like if you're looking for an another receptive energy who has really mastered their wealth and their material world, then yes, this could be a really lovely power couple. Okay. But whether this is the person coming in for you or whether it's who you're stepping into, you will naturally, by the nature of this relationship, become more physically embodied in your sense of abundance, I will say, with this new cycle that's coming in for you. So tell me more, Spirit, about what is coming in. Group one, what do we have? Yeah, okay. We have Six of Swords, um, which is you moving on from chaotic times, into calmer waters. But this is swords are a mental energy. I think you're gonna be able to relax mentally in this new cycle. It's gonna feel like your brain doesn't have to be on. You don't have to be fighting for yourself all the time. And I think that was probably a big part of your last relationship. And then we have the Star. The Star is associated with Aquarius for those who want that aspect of it. But this is healing. This is your light in the darkness. This relationship that's coming in for you. I hadn't actually done zodiac signs yet. So Cups and Pentacles, that's the water signs and earth signs. So that's Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Wow, that took way longer than it needed to. I said that this was Aquarius. The Judgment is Scorpio. Temperance is Sagittarius. The Tower is often associated with Scorpio or Mars, which could be Aries. So that's what's here so far. Tell me more about this new cycle in their love life for group one. And so this isn't necessarily a singles reading, but I do get the vibe here that there was definitely an ending in whatever your last relationship situation was, that this is healing. So if you are not, if you haven't just experienced like a loss that you have recovered from, I'm not sure this is your group. Yeah, we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. Again, this is just confirmation of what we were saying about how you're letting go. This new cycle is, you're not going to have the anxiety about it. It's going to be so clear that this person loves you, that you don't have to, there's nothing for you to worry about. This is something you feel really secure in. And I think that might be new for you, being able to just be and not feel threatened in any way. I love that. I love this for you. What do we have? Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a lot of pentacles in this spread. So I would be surprised if this person coming in for you does not have Earth in their chart somewhere. But so yeah, this will come in its own time. I don't This is not a relationship that you can rush. So as uncomfortable as that is, I do think this will be coming in slowly, but it will be so stable. And that's, often we have to sacrifice speed for stability. And so this does feel like a very stable connection for you. Not sure how long this reading is going to be. Oop, my fan is so tired. It's been a long summer. Tell me more, Spirit, about what's coming in for. What else can we know about the person coming in? Page of Pentacles. Did I not say? Now we have the Page, the Knight, and the Queen of Pentacles. This is someone who's like I think this is someone who is settled in their abundance, but starting this relationship with you is going to they're going to be a beginner again, I think, kind of in a way that not that they're going to have to start from scratch or lose all their money. I don't mean that. I mean that the level that they're at now is going to become the ground, the floor for their new journey upward in abundance. I think the two of you together will be creating this because you got the Nine of Pentacles. You know, you're both focused on your physical abundance. And I think together you're going to grow so much more that wherever you're at now is going to feel it's going to be the new floor. And you're just going to go up from there. What we have here? Anything else, Spirit? Tell me more about this relationship coming in. Two of Swords in reverse. So you're letting go of indecision. I do, like I said, I think this is confirmation. I think you're going to feel very certain about this. Eight of Wands. So this might be someone who lives not quite in your town, but nearby enough that they can it's not too far, but there might be a little bit of travel involved getting together. So I live in Southern California, and it's kind of like one giant urban sprawl, so it's hard to the boundaries between cities kind of blur. But this could be someone maybe in the next county over, and it's not a long drive necessarily, but it's not you don't have the same local coffee shop or whatever. That's what I'm getting with this, because we said like the Knight of Pentacles was coming in slowly, and the Eight of Wands would usually be a card of rapid movement, and these are kind of not the same energy at all. And so I'm getting, because the Eight of Wands can also indicate a little bit of travel. And Page of Swords. I think this is someone who's going to be really curious about you and open and want to learn about you and what you like and how they can well, please you was what I was trying not to say because YouTube is funny. But yes, that also. They want to. They're very interested in their best way to care for you. Um, and I know we don't necessarily associate Page of Swords with care, but we do associate swords and curiosity and intellectual curiosity. They want to know how your mind works. But the point of all of that is not just to know how your mind works; it's to know how they can how they can connect with you better. I'm gonna have to turn that fan off. Oh, I'll be right back. Okay, we're gonna try this again. I want to find out how you are going to feel about this person, how you're going to meet. So let's start there. How is my group ones going to meet this person? If it, or how are they going to reconnect if it's someone from their past? Ooh, that one. Oh, I'm gonna have to get that again. How are they going to reconnect? Justice. So the first thing I think of is if you have to go to the courthouse for any reason, you might meet there. I mean, that's really loud. So I don't know. So I'm gonna leave that there. But that's a very very loud reason. Way you might meet them is if you have to go to court for something, maybe to finalize um, something from your last relationship, or I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have jury duty together. What's this? Five of Swords. So if you're involved in any kind of like martial arts classes or some kind of like combat sport, you might meet them there. In a competitive environment. Ooh, what's this? Ace of Pentacles. More pentacles for you guys. So it could be at a financial institution, like if you are going to the bank to get a loan or something like that. This could be where you meet them, or maybe at a class for building wealth. That would make sense with both of you. So that's another possibility. Anything else there, Spirit? Any other places where they might meet this person? Likely places for them to meet this person. It's this one. Page of Wands. Again, this is another like learning environment, maybe. If you take a class, you might meet them there. But this would be more creative. So like an art class or um, even spiritual. If you're learning a new skill, then it might something there, tarot or reading the Akashic records or Reiki or any of that could fall under this tantra. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. How are you going to feel about this person when you first meet them? What will their first impression of this person be? First impression. Hello. Yeah, that's meant to come out. It will. What do we have? So interesting. They might come across as someone who moves quickly. I think they come across as someone who's very intelligent, very discerning, very confident in their opinions. And so you might be surprised when they end up coming in slowly because they look like someone who would move quickly. But of course, the Knight of Swords can also get stuck in his head. And so that is possible. That would be why. there was a slower moving energy than you were really interested in, than you were, I mean, anticipating, sorry. And then we do have the Hermit in reverse. Whatever it is about this person, and we said that they were curious, and I think their intellect will inspire you in a way, and they might make you feel like, I think there's some kind of spark there that makes you feel like you're ready for a relationship. I think they get your attention and you realize that you have been in hermit mode for longer than is good for you and need to come out of it. And I think there's something about this person when you meet them that really inspires you intellectually and gets you to thinking more about a relationship if you're not already there. You want to get out more. They make you want to get out more. Maybe they say that. I can totally see this person being like, you need to get out more. That's hilarious. What else? Anything else here, Spirit? And then we'll move on to Oracle cards. Oh, you're going to be really happy. 10 of Cups. You're going to be really happy with this person. We haven't had a lot of cups other than the 6 of Cups. But I think here it is, you know. Say we've talked a lot about swords and pentacles. 6 of Cups, Queen of Cups. But this is ultimate happiness, emotional fulfillment. So that's awesome. I am going to leave the tarot portion there. And we're going to get you some oracle cards. We have someone else, someone in the middle trying to sabotage this. So that is something to look out for. That could also be part of the delay, is that there could be someone who is jealous of this. So we have vacation. So you might go on vacation with this person. You might be on vacation when you meet them. And we have they'll be back. Expect to hear from them soon. So we did see that in the 6 of Cups, that for some of you, probably not all of you, but for some of you, this is someone coming back from your past. Anything else here? Moving. Changing of residence, moving in with your partner. So we had said that you might live at a distance, a small distance, you know, but you might live not quite next door to each other. And so you might move in with them quicker than you think. You also could be moving now, and that would bring you into closer enough proximity to them that you would actually encounter each other. Anything else? Yeah. Let go. I think you've done this. We had this at the beginning. Make way for the new beginning on its way to you now. But you know, if there is anything that you are holding on to, even if it's just pain or resentment or fear that might be holding you back, this is your work in the meantime. And we saw with the 8 of Pentacles at the beginning that you are doing that work already. So this is not saying you're not, but it's encouraging you to keep your focus there until this comes in. Okay. Okay. And we have air sign. So that'll be for some of you. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Either you or this person. And patience at the bottom of the deck. So it says just a few more months. Good things come to those who wait. Your Knight of Pentacles is going to take its time, but their time, not gender. Again, no gender in tarot. But I do think that if you're here for this reading now, just the guidance is to stay focused on yourself, on your journey, on your healing, and they'll come in when it's time. But I am going to leave you there. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this, I would love it if you could leave a like and subscribe if you want more. And I hope to see you in another group. If this wasn't your reading or another reading, there's several on the channel. And yeah, but I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye. Hi, group 2. If you chose the literary tarot, then welcome to your reading. We are obviously trying something different today. I don't usually do face-on readings. I usually just prefer to be a pair of talking hands, but I decided I would give this a go and see how it feels for everybody. And yeah, I will make the same disclaimer that I made in group 1, which is that I am using my phone to record, and I'm using the front-facing camera so that I can see what you can see, but that means that I'm having to look not at the screen, and I keep getting distracted by myself and moving this way. And so I'm trying to stay where I'm looking at you, but just please forgive me when my attention wavers. Okay, so before we get into the cards, the initial set of cards that I pulled for you, there's a few things that came through. So when I was setting up the decks for your group, there were 2 cards that flipped over when I was just regular shuffling the deck before I even filmed the intro. And the 2 cards that came out for this group were the Star and the Lovers. Excuse me. So that gives me a little bit of a clue as to where you're at, and what's mostly coming through with that. This feels like a group where you have an established connection that has been through something, and you're healing either separately or together, but you haven't given up on the relationship, and you are trying to heal together in it. So the other thing that came through when I was prepping for this reading, for your particular group's reading, I got this song in my head that I sang in college in jazz choir and haven't thought about since. I had to look it up because I remembered the lyrics, well, some of the lyrics. And so I had to look it up to remember what song it was. And it was Down South Camp Meetin' by the Manhattan Transfer, which is a very weird niche song. I will go ahead and put it in the description box below under your reading if I remember to, but it's not the kind of music that it's not for everyone, for sure. But the vibe of the song is it's about a religious church revival, where everyone's going to go and get saved, but the revival is very much the energy that was like, this is what's relevant for this reading. So this does feel like you are healing a relationship that was a major relationship for you. The version, because you chose the literary tarot, it has 3 different lovers cards in this deck, and the card that came out initially was the Hades and Persephone. And this is a couple who famously is not together all the time, because Persephone has to go do spring. And so that and the Star, which is kind of your light in the darkness energy of the healing energy, I really do think that there has been a separation that you are healing from, and that this reading for your new cycle in love is going to be revival sort of energy. So If that sounds like you, then welcome. You are in the right place. If you're not sure, then we'll get a few more things here to kind of feel it out. So we have the Hermit. So I think at least part of the time you are healing this on your own, like individually. Like there's some inner work that you are doing that hopefully your partner is doing. Um, uh, and just a lot of introspection happening for you. We have also, though, the Five of Parchment in reverse. This is the Five of Pentacles. And reversed, this is coming in out of the cold. So I do see that this is hopefully doing, this does seem to be healing. It does seem to be coming back around. It does seem like you're trying again. We have the King of Parchment, the King of Pentacles, and the Queen of Ink. It's the Queen of Wands. And so if this resonates for you, then you could have an earth sign, masculine or proactive energy, and a fire sign, feminine or receptive energy, as your part of your, this could be you and your partner, wherever you fall. And they're both looking forward in this deck. I don't know if I think, yeah, you can see that. They're not, so often the court cards in tarot decks are looking one side or another, but these two are both looking forward. And I do think you both have a great deal of hope and commitment and inspiration to move forward together. We have here, my watch is dying. Page of Quills is kind of a curious energy. This is the Page of Swords. And, it is a youthful, more innocent, more playful energy, but, sometimes immature. But there is a lot of curiosity here. And I think you're trying to get back to this kind of energy with each other. I think you're trying to get back into kind of relearning who you are, who each other is after, being together for a while and then separating. And I think you're in this kind of curious dating energy, this you're ready to come into it with a beginner's mind to learn who each other are in this stage of your life. And then we have the Nine of Quills in reverse. So that would be the Nine of Swords in reverse. So there seems to have been maybe some anxiety at some point that is turning around. I think you're starting to feel like this could actually work. And because you're in it together. So it is a couple in this deck, the Nine of Quills. But in most tarot decks, this is an individual who's got sleepless nights because of all of the anxiety, right? But nines are usually very solitary energies. And so when you have then again the Nine of Parchment is as the next card, I think in the reverse, especially the Nine of Pentacles, we see as a solo card. This is someone who has built their own wealth in the upright. The way I'm reading this card in this reading, because it came out in the last group too, but the way I'm reading this card in this reading is more that you're fine on your own, but you're done with being on your own. I'm reading it kind of like the Hermit in reverse. And I just realized you have that, so that's 3 nines. So 999 might be relevant for you in some way. But I think you're coming out of this independent energy. You're willing to see where you can share your wealth with your partner. And then the last card that came out is the Lovers, and this is the Achilles and Patroclus lovers. So shout out to any of the LGBTQIA plus members of my community. I love to have you here. You are absolutely welcome. Big fans. So this so we had the Lovers, like when I was shuffling your deck before I even started, and we talked about how you're probably in a separation and healing together to come back together. So the fact that you get a different version of the Lovers, I think, is really crucial here. Because this isn't more or less a Lover's card. It's just a different energy with these two than it is with Hades and Persephone. And I invite you, if you don't know those, stories, to look it up and see what people have done with them, because they're both ancient Greek stories that have been modernized lately. So I do think that's also interesting. Regardless, this you're coming back into, because we talk about the Lovers as being like massive soulmate energy, where your partner, yes, is a reflection of you and showing you who you are, and really you're each mirroring each other so that you can see each other, yourselves and each other more clearly. And I think that's really what's going on here, is that you are coming back into this relationship with just a new dynamic all over the place, a new story to tell. And I love that for you. So let's get a little bit more, Spirit. What's coming up for my group twos? What is this? Tell me more about their new cycle in love. Whew. The Hanged Man. Yeah. I think you have had to pause and get a different perspective. And that's why all of these things are going on. So this is, if you count the Star and the Lovers at the beginning, then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana so far in this reading. And then we have the Emperor. So that's 6. What is this Emperor? Hanged Man, the Emperor. I think you're going to be surprised by your partner. As you start coming back in, I think they've probably done more work on themselves than you would have thought they could or would have agreed to. It seems like they're coming back in this energy of mastery. And I don't think you're expecting that. It feels like you're surprised by how much work they did on themselves and how steady and grounded and masterful they've become in their own life and in their own energy. The Magician, we are going major arcana to major arcana. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying, because the Magician has mastered all of the tools at their disposal, and so they can create and manifest anything. And yeah, I really think that's what you guys are going to see as you come back together, is that this time apart has made you much stronger, much more powerful, much more ready for... I'm putting those back in. I think that was just me being me. So sorry about that. I do drop cards on a fairly regular basis. Okay. yeah, I think you guys are really coming back in much, much stronger, much more aware. So the emperor, we often see surveying kind of their empire and knowing that, yes, I did this. Like, I'm in control of this. I have this managed. I'm, you know, fully capable of doing this. There is a self satisfied energy to the emperor. It's also associated with Aries. So it this is a go getter kind of energy. The magician, I think, is associated with, well, Mercury, but Gemini, I think specifically. And so you've got these very lively, very energetic cards but they both know who they are and where they're headed. And I think that's the energy that you're coming back into this relationship with. And it's not just your partner that has that energy. I think you have gained that too. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. So yeah, there might have been some discontentment here. Might have been a sense that maybe the grass was greener elsewhere, that maybe you could find more satisfaction with someone else. But you've done the work and now you realize that this was always the one, the relationship for you. This is the one that you thought was elsewhere, was the one that you had. You just couldn't see them yet. Four of Ink is a celebration. You might choose to do a vow renewal ceremony if you are married to this person. Um, but regardless, I think there will be this sense of celebration, this sense of coming together. This is the 1111 card for those for whom that is important. And so I do think you're coming back into this seeing each other as everything that you thought you might find elsewhere. And then we have the Judgment, which, again, this is the resurrection energy. Um, and I'm not getting anything else out of that except that, again, it's another major arcana. So for those who like astrology, I said Gemini and Aries for these two. The Hanged Man is Pisces. The Judgment is Scorpio. The Hermit is Virgo. If we include the Star, that is Aquarius. And the Lovers is Gemini. So, yeah. What else can we know, Spirit, about this coming back? Oh, what are these? These look interesting. The Moon. It's Pisces again. Shout out to Cancer. For those who, you know, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, but in the tarot, the moon is Pisces energy. So there is a sense of unknown here. Three of Cups and community. 10 of Wands. Interesting. And the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So with the 10 of Wands, I think the separation has taken its toll on both of you. I think you might be feeling like you were carrying a lot on your own. And so, you know, you're trying to figure out how to put this back together in a way that doesn't cause you to repeat patterns from before. But we have this Three of Light here. You have community. You know, there are people who can help you in your community if you reach out when you find yourselves out of balance or struggling. I think to a lot of times, especially nowadays, relationships struggle because people are not cultivating their own friendships outside of their primary partner. And I think you're being invited to consider prioritizing girls' nights, guys' nights, whatever it is, where you have a life outside of the life with your partner. And you might have started doing that when you were in this independent energy. You might have reconnected with friends and cultivated some of this spirit of just joy and togetherness outside of a romantic relationship. And I think you're being invited to not let go of that as you move back in to relationship. And then with the Wheel of Fortune, you know, so initially this came out reversed, and it doesn't feel so. The Wheel of Fortune is the card that's the most kind of ambiguous for me, whether it's upright or reverse, because it's the wheel and it's always turning. I've heard different ways that people read this. Upright, they say, is it's turning in your favor, and reversed, it's turning not in your favor. I don't. This doesn't feel like the wheel isn't turning in your favor. If anything, I think this feels like it's not turning fast enough for you. Like there's a almost an urgency to get back to where the relationship was when it was good, and you're wanting to put all of those pieces back into place. But this feels more like you're not. There's a star again on the bottom of the deck. You're not meant to rebuild what you had before. You're meant to rebuild something new. And that's going to take time. It could take as much time as it took to build a relationship in the first place. It just kind of depends on you and your partner and the energy that you bring to it. But we had the Page of Swords. There's a need here to remember that you're beginning again, and to be in that beginner energy, and to not rush the turning of the wheel too much. I'm trying to remember the zodiac signs for the Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes I've heard it said it's all the fixed signs. There are symbols on here. I see the symbol for, I think that's Mercury and Aquarius. And then others that I don't recognize. But we do have our 4 animals representing all of the elements. So this is kind of an everybody card. I can't help you with the astrology there. But what else, Spirit? What else can you tell us about this? The energy of this new cycle in Group 2's romantic life. Tell me more about that Wheel of Fortune reversed. These, it's these. Come here. Okay. So we have the Magician again. You can choose. You have the tools. What do you want this to look like? We have the Fool. This is Uranus, Aquarius energy. This is your leap of faith. Can you trust yourself, your partner, the relationship in this leap? And the Justice. I think this is yeah, the encouragement here is to take the leap. Justice will prevail in this relationship. I think it just might take more time than you want it to. The Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck now is a defensive energy. And I'm wondering if you feel like this relationship is something that's going to require you to defend it a little bit more than it used to, because like I'm wondering if you're feeling unstable in it because of the separation, because of the pause, because you weren't sure you were coming back together. What's this? Queen of Parchment. Did we started with the King of Parchment and the Queen of Wands. Okay, we started with these two, and I said this was you and your partner for whatever reason. This is what was symbolizing you at the beginning of the reading. And I've just pulled the Queen of Parchment, and I don't think this is a third party. I think this is an evolution. I think that this time apart has brought you into greater compatibility with each other. And I know that this has the feminine doing the changing, and I know that's not really the vibe right now for the most part, but just in general in the tarot, and don't, take this if it resonates, and don't take it if it doesn't. If it's triggering for you, it's not for you. The Queen of Wands is very beautiful. She's the most, attractive queen in the deck. The Queen of Parchment, Queen of Pentacles, is the most mature. And I think that if you are the feminine, because most people who watch tarot identify with feminine energy, this is not saying there was anything wrong with you before. It's just that your growth while you were apart was key to this relationship coming back around. And you both grew, because if your partner went from the King of Parchment to the Emperor, that's a step up. But going from the Queen of Ink to the Queen of Parchment is also a step up. And I think you're choosing each other again, because we had the Magician, we had both versions of the Magician, didn't we? Yes, we did. 2 versions of the Magician in this deck, and they both came out. You're both manifesting this. You both want this. You're both choosing this. So this is not about an instability in it's very equal. I don't there's a word I'm looking for and I can't find it, but it's very equal. Wish fulfillment. There's a vibe here though, because this came out reverse too, and I wasn't going to take it like that, because there's something here under the surface. There's an anxiety that an uneasiness, maybe not anxiety so much. I think it's an uneasiness about this. What is the uneasy? What is the uneasiness, Spirit? Tell me about this. This reading gets really good, and then something. So there's like a little warning light that goes off. What is this about, Spirit? Knight of Quills in reverse. This feels more like an external influence. you know, if you were apart in such a way, if your separation had the, if it included dating other people, I'm wondering if there aren't remnants of that that are lingering, that are making one or both of you pause and question. The plot thickens. What is this about, Spirit? Let's just get it out into the open. What are we doing here? Tell me about this. Yeah. Eight of Swords, trapped in a prison of your own making. 10 of Swords, but in reverse. So 10 of Swords is rock bottom. And reversed is coming out of that. And then we have the Queen of Swords. This is 3 queens. You might both have other people who you were with. We have the swords here are just getting a little wild. So I have the page, queen, page, the knight, the queen. Did we have the king? I know I've seen him today. I just don't know if he came, if he hit this. The 10. Yeah, there's a lot of people involved in this. And I think that might be what's causing some of this. It's just this niggling little sense of doubt. I think that's the best way I can put it. It's like, yay, I'm back together. I'm loving getting to know my person all over again. But it's like you can't let go of the way things changed while you were apart. I think you're afraid of that there's something that everybody knows except for you, or some kind of secret that's going to come out and embarrass you. But you're going to hear something. You're going to find out something soon. There's a message coming in that's going to give you clarity on this. Tell me more, Spirit. This went in a direction I was not expecting. If this part doesn't resonate for you, just leave it and take the rest of it. This is for somebody, and so I have to go ahead and bring it through. 4 of Quills. In reverse. Like I say, 4 of Quills is a card of rest. It's a pause, it's stopping and resting, and it came out in reverse. And you did have the 8 of Quills. There's so many swords out here. Someone is overthinking. It might be both of you, but someone can't let go of the thought of something. And that's the only thing throwing a wrench in the works here. What's this? 2 of Quills. But wait, there's more. Indecision. You have the 10 of Parchment. This is ultimate happiness. I think you just need to get out of your head. Yeah, you're afraid of betrayal. You're afraid that there's something you've missed. There's the 7, here's the 5. We've had the whole suit of swords. Ace of Cups. This is a new emotional beginning. Spirit, is this in this relationship or in a new relationship? What is happening, you guys? 2 of Cups in reverse. 2 of Cups upright, that's soulmates. That's love, right? There's an imbalance here. What, Spirit, what would restore balance to this? What would restore balance in this? Oh, please don't let me be right. Okay. Doing the work. Yep, putting in the work. It's kind of what both of these are about. So yeah, if you want this, if this comes back around as glorious as it sounded like it was going to, and you really want this, and your partner really wants this, then really you just need to fight for it. This is about, it could be about anything. It could be about agreeing to go to therapy. It could be, you know, signing up for a couples retreat. These cards that were all upright at the beginning of your reading are all in reverse now. And I do not know what that's about. It's possible. Take this if it resonates. If it doesn't, leave it. Honestly, I don't know why this is coming through, because normally this is not something I would bring through in a collective reading. But for whatever reason, there might be a resurgence of this. And it just doesn't stick. And I don't like to give that message. I don't want to give it. That won't be for everybody. I think I think there is great potential here, because you guys are both choosing this. We saw that. But it's like it doesn't ever quite gel. And you have to decide if that's something that you want to work through, or if you want to let it go. If maybe you think that somebody that maybe you met while you were separated would be a better life, to build a better life with them. I just don't know. Say the energy here just flipped around in a way. Give me like one last card, Spirit, from the tarot, and then we'll move on to oracle cards. One last card about this next chapter in group 2's, this next cycle for group 2. It's a very different kind of reading than group 1. Group 1, though, was very interrupted because I kept having issues. Okay. Oh, I said 1 and I got 3. So we have the Strength. And this is, about balance, about inner strength, the strength of peace. We got the Star in reverse again. Sometimes the Star can be in reverse because you're not seeing the light that's there. And then we have the 6 of Parchment. Generosity, give and take, equal give and take. I think you guys can make this work if you really want it. And there's no reason why you shouldn't want it. There was no toxicity, no red flags in this reading. It's just, sometimes we're just human, and we just get caught up in our own discontent. And so take that however you want it. But I think there is definitely a very good chance of this being very healthy, powerful mutual connection between the two of you. If you decide to work through any of the hiccups in the road together. All right. Let's go, Spirit. What do we have? Yeah, we have this in group 1 too. Someone is trying to sabotage this, and that could be it. Those third parties might not be, anybody you're tempted by or your partner's tempted by. It could be that they were like, no, I was with this great person, and then they went back to their, spouse or whatever. And so that could be some of the interference there, and that could be what triggers your anxieties. I can totally see that. What else, Spirit? What else can we tell group 2? Fire sign. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Take that if it's a confirmation and leave it if it's not. What else can we tell group 2s? Yes, luck is on your side. See, you're going to be fine. It's all going to be good. Date night. Get ready to be wined and dined. Doesn't get much better than that. I mean, this is someone really, taking the time to woo you, to win you back, this really feels like you're choosing each other despite it all. Maybe you're just being invited to be aware of any lingering anxiety and trust each other with the honesty of it. Be like, I feel like this is just what's coming through. It's like, I feel so silly, but I'm so bothered by knowing that you are in these other relationships, and it's hard for me to settle. And even just acknowledging that with each other sometimes is all it takes to alleviate your fears, to have that vulnerability be acknowledged, and get the reassurance that you need. Because if someone loves you, they don't mind reassuring you about that. And this does feel like a very loving relationship. Get a couple more oracle cards, please, Spirit. That's too many. Couple more oracle cards for my group 2s. Did I call you group 3 at one point? I don't know. Okay. Well, maybe that's all that needed to be said, because I'm not getting anything else. I'll give it a couple more rounds of shuffling, see if anything else comes out, but I think that might be it. Yep, expect to hear from them soon. Circles us back to the beginning of the reading. This is absolutely coming back around. So I am going to leave you there. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this reading, if you found it helpful, if it resonated, I would love it if you could leave a like, subscribe if you want more. And I would love to see you in another group if this one did not resonate, or another reading. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and take care. Bye. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading all about the next cycle in love for you. And this is not a singles reading, it's for anybody. But when I was shuffling the cards, like before I even did the intro, when I was preparing the decks for this reading, the card that came out for your group was the Two of Wands, which is a card of manifestation. And so I kind of wonder if you haven't set some intentions or planted some seeds for what you want to come in next, and you're kind of in this mode of waiting for your ships to come in. So that said, the Three of Wands did come out in your initial spread here for what's next. But it kind of came out sort of later in the reading, so we will get to that. The first card we got was the Three of Swords. And so I do think there's some heartbreak here for you. And it might not necessarily be about romance, but it could be if you're here. Because it also came out with the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is a card of moving on after a period of conflict into calmer waters. Caveat, I forgot to give my little disclaimer. Yes, hi, this is me. You see my face this time. And I'm giving this a shot, see if we like it. But I'm using my phone. And so I have it in landscape mode so that it looks right on YouTube. But I'm having to look kind of off screen over here towards my left in a way that I am not used to. So my attention tends to drift back towards the center, and then I know I can see that I'm looking off center. But if I use front facing camera, I can at least see what you can see. So we're going to see if we like this. The other caveat here is that I had to turn my fan back on. I had it on for group one, and it squeaked so bad I had to turn it off. And it kept interrupting their reading, but it is 92 degrees right now, and I don't have air conditioning, so the fan is kind of needed. So I will turn it off if it gets too loud, but I just wanted to let you know that that is something that might come up. Hopefully it won't be too loud. I did put my mic on to help isolate my sound over the fan sound, so I do hope that helps. Okay, back to your reading. Heartbreak. Moving on after a period of conflict. We have the High Priestess. So the initials J and V might be significant for you. But this is really a card of intuition, a card of trusting your intuition, learning how to work with it, learning how to use it to tap into all that is. And so I kind of wonder if you're not really being called into doing some intuitive work at this point, either just for yourself, or if you're taking a class to learn how to read tarot or the Akashic records or any other modality that helps you to tap into the collective unconscious, then, you know, that might be something that you're working on right now. But I feel like you are also feeling in a little bit of a fog. There's nothing tangible about the High Priestess. There's nothing. It's all about trusting your inner wisdom. And I know that that can be challenging, and often it seems like maybe we're not supposed to know what's coming. But for me, I find that when I feel like that, once the thing comes, I go, oh yeah, I had hints. But it just wasn't clear necessarily to me. Because, as we know, reading for yourself is very different from reading for someone else. I just got a text message, I'm sorry. And then you got the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords, this is someone coming in quickly. And I hesitate saying that this is what's coming in next for you, because we also got then the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is the card that came out with your Three of Wands. And so this is a younger energy. King of Swords is a more mature energy. So with this coming out with a High Priestess, it is possible that this is the same person, and this is how you see them, and this is who they are. So take that if it resonates. You could also have known them for a long time, and so this is still the version of you, of them, the version of them that you have in your mind, and this is who they actually are now. Take that if it resonates. Okay, but we have these two on the table for you. However, we also have the Emperor. And the Emperor is all four kings combined. This is the proactive energy person who has mastered their universe. They have everything they've wanted, and they're kind of now sat back and admiring the work that they've done and what they've got from it. This is the person who, retired at 35 or whatever. But the point is that they've done the work and they know how good they are. And there can be some arrogance to that, but it's not necessarily. It's just that they have been through it and they've learned all of the things, and they're very secure in themselves. And we have the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is an indecision. So I'm wondering if you're not having to choose. You got three people on the table, and you're going to have to choose. If these two aren't the same person, which they really look like they might be, but whatever. Which of these is the answer to your manifestation? So, we can manifest all we want, but then is, I think, the question after we've set our intentions out into the universe and said, okay, universe, this is what you're sending me. Sometimes they send us someone who's not it, to say, are you serious? Are you really holding out for what it is that you deserve? Or are you going to settle for the next thing that comes around? And I think, I'm not telling you that the Emperor is it for you, but I am saying that there are options, and you want to make sure that whoever you select who comes forward next is going to be someone who is actually compatible with you, is actually going to treat you the way you deserve, and, you know, be the answer to your manifestations. I'm going to have to pause for a second and be right back. Okay, sorry for the interruption there. I had to take that call, but I was on hold and I pulled the rest of your cards, so you don't have to sit there and watch me shuffle. So, group 3, you've got some chaos. I'm not going to lie. So we have the Eight of Wands. This is quick forward movement, a message coming in very quickly for you. So I know we had that Knight of Swords, who I said was coming in quick because that's what the Knight of Swords does. But here's the other half of that. There goes my fan. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Okay. You got the King and Queen of Wands and the Devil. Now, the Devil in tarot is not evil like the devil in some traditions. The devil is unhealthy attachments, and sometimes it can be a little toxic. Oh, don't make me turn that off. Okay, I'll turn off the fan. I'll be right back. So I think it's really interesting that the devil came out between this matched pair. These are counterparts, King and Queen of Wands, with the devil. And so what I'm getting here is that you have an idea in your head about what this love should look like that you're manifesting. And it's very passionate, and there's nothing wrong with passion. But these other energies that we have with the swords and the King of Swords, the Emperor, the King of Swords is very logical. And the Emperor is logical and grounded and passionate and all of those things. But I think neither of them are going to present like this. And the devil is your warning that this is not the long-term stable relationship that it feels like to you. This is for somebody. And don't take it the wrong way. This is not a judgment. This is your romantasy couple. We love our romantasy couples. but they are more fun on the page than they are when you're actually in this dynamic sometimes. Okay. And so I don't know that like that won't be for everybody, but it does feel like the devil coming between these two kind of, because the devil always has a couple in the card with him. It's the opposite side of the lovers. It's this kind of addictive quality to the relationships of the devil. And so that's why I think this is a warning about these very passionate energies that you may be drawn to that maybe aren't ultimately going to be the relationship that you manifested. We got the Two of Pentacles. And so I think with all of these energies on the table, like I say, there's so many people here. The Knight and the King of Swords, the Emperor, the King and Queen of Wands, the High Priestess. Um, I think you're gonna be juggling. Like, if you seem to have a lot of options, and I think you're going to be juggling your life with all of these options and trying to figure out which one works best in your life, because pentacles are the practical suit. And so, someone can look really good on paper, someone can offer you things beyond your wildest dreams, but if it never lands right in your real life, then it doesn't usually, it doesn't work, because it has to be someone who is actually compatible with who you are on a daily basis, and not just someone who ticks off all your boxes. But I think there's a feeling here, because of the heartbreak, because of, you know, this idea you have in your head that you're manifesting. I think you're feeling a little bit scarce. You have a little bit of a scarcity mindset about partnership, about love. And listen, I get it. It is rough out there. Okay. Like, I am not here to be on my high horse. I struggle with this because, you know, the dating pool has a whole lot of raw sewage in it. And, there are beautiful patches also, but wading through the sewage to get to the patches is not the vibe. And so I know this scarcity mindset when it comes to relationships. Like, it feels like you have to hold on to what you can get, even if it's not here. Yeah. Even if it's not the thing that you wanted when you're dating and you're meeting all of these different kinds of people, there is a temptation to hold on to the first one that you think might work, just to not be single anymore. This really does feel like a singles reading, or if it's not, then you're like, it's possible that this is a reading for the polyamorous crowd, and that's totally fine too. Everybody is welcome here. There's no hate on this channel. But you have the Ten of Swords in reverse, and there is a sense here after the Four of Pentacles that after this heartbreak, that you are healing, right? The swords are coming out of his back when it's in this card is in the reverse. It's because swords are mental. I tend to think of this as like, you've let go of whatever limiting belief was keeping you stuck, was keeping you from feeling like your person wasn't out there and you should settle for what you can get. You're letting go of this. This feels like letting go of desperation, of saying, you know what, I am a beautiful person. I am worthy of love. There is a partnership out there for me that's going to feel good, that's not going to feel like I'm being stabbed in the back all the time, that I'm not going to have to sacrifice who I am just to keep them around. And so, because what you have next is the Judgment card. This is a rebirth, a resurrection, a rebirth energy. And you absolutely have here a beautiful relationship coming in. Like I can feel it. It's just, yeah, you gotta get to where you feel so abundant in yourself. And that's not saying that you have to be, you know, have everything you want on your own before a relationship can come in. But it's saying that letting go of the scarcity, letting go of the limiting beliefs will bring you into this Nine of Pentacles energy where you know your worth. You can see it all around you all the time. You feel it. And you would never settle for anything less than what you deserve. What else do we have here, Spirit, for group 3? Justice. Your justice is coming in. This is Libra energy, which is often associated with relationships. Libra is ruled by Venus. But it's also, it's balance. This is the balanced connection. This is what you've been fighting for this whole time. It's here, babes. It is here, and you've got a little bit more of a journey to get there. But the Nine of Pentacles of everybody on the table is going to choose the Emperor, is going to choose the guy who is not asking her to be less, because he has everything that he doesn't have any insecurities. The Emperor, he knows exactly who he is. He's not getting caught in his head. He's not, letting his passions rule him. He's not. This is who gets the man of their dreams. And and I know I have to do this disclaimer, and I always forget because it's so it's not how my brain works, but this is not about gender. Okay, this is about energy. Yeah, your Nine of Swords. You got to let go of this anxiety. This will take some time, but there is clarity coming in. And so I really think, I'm gonna have to wrap you guys up soon because it is unpleasantly warm in here. Yeah. This is you. Okay. The Strength and the Magician. This is inner peace and full knowing how to work with all of the tools at your disposal. Okay, this is a pile. It keeps repeating itself, so I'm going to wrap it up because I think it's complete, that you are not settling. And you will have an offer from someone who is a good match for you. And, learning to trust your discernment is really going to be the key here. And, learning how to not, how to value yourself enough to wait for what's best for you. Pets. Getting a new pet, giving a current pet more love. Yeah, pets are great, especially when you're working on your worth. I love, I love cats and dogs. I'm a pet sitter when I'm not reading tarot for you guys. But the way that dogs can look at you and just have total adoration for you is such a learning tool. And the way cats know their boundaries and they know how to enforce them, and they're like, this is not okay with me and you're not going to do it, but I love you. I'm just going to make sure that you treat me the way I ask to be treated. They're both such great teachers when you want them to be. Not that there aren't other pets. Those are the ones that I take care of the most often. And so those are the ones that I bring up here because, if you're trying to learn, you don't have to have pets. Like, I can't have pets in my current apartment. That's why I do the pet sitting. But just tapping into those energies can be really helpful when you're learning to receive great abundant love and learning how to raise your standards. So what else do we have here, Spirit, from the oracle cards? Ooh, one flipped over and then it flipped back over, maybe. Yes, see, it got buried. The yes got buried. It hid itself, but it is there. There is a yes in this pile of people that are going to be coming into your energy. Okay. Luck is on your side. You have got this. Okay. What else do we have here? Whew. A few more oracle cards here, please. Vacation. You will be traveling soon. Yeah, this feels solo or with friends, or this doesn't feel like romantic vacation. This feels like part of what you're doing as part of your self-care, as you move forward here. So yeah, meet up with the girls or the guys, or friend trip. By yourself, I travel solo. I love it. But yeah, getting out and seeing new places. Ooh, here we go. What do we have? We have intuition. So there's that high priestess energy again. So we're not ignoring red flags. We have honeymoon, attending someone's wedding. So that could be the vacation you're taking. And we have guardian. A lost loved one watches over you. And if you don't know anyone who's passed on, this could be a pet or an ancestor who's just really invested in your story. But most of us have lost someone, and you are being protected. So I think that's it. And I think I'm going to leave you there. I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please subscribe. And if this didn't resonate, feel free to choose another group or another reading or another reader. I'm not for everybody. But it was lovely to have you here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Thanks so much.